I'm reading through this year Genesis, the book of Genesis, and I'm kind of doing it over and over again and just deep diving into the book of Genesis. There's so much that as a mature believer and follower of Jesus that you can find in that book. I never suggest, new believers to dive into Genesis, but they always want to start there because it's at the beginning, right? Like they open it up and it's like, oh, it's at the beginning. Okay, all right. Whoa, they're naked. Whoa, the brothers are killing each other. Whoa, what is going on here? Noah, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening there. Lots. Daughters. I mean, I'm just naming some things. Like if you know those stories, it's like, whoa. Like, when you're a new believer, you start reading that, you're like, I can't follow God. I don't know. It's just too much for me. Where he's describing something that happens, sometimes people read that and they're like, well, the Bible is our manual for life, so I guess that's descriptive. Wait a minute. No, it's sometimes, just describing what happened. But as I was reading in Genesis 4, I thought something that's great for our leadership and something I've seen there is the story of Cain and Abel. And in the story of Cain and Abel, if you're not familiar with it, they're the first two brothers on the earth, Adam and Eve's sons, and they bring God an offering. And this is such a misunderstood narrative story in the Scripture because it says that Cain was like a farmer, basically, and he brought the fruit of his labor, fruits and veggies, I guess, and brought it as an offering before God. Abel raised sheep, animals. He was an, rancher, I guess you could say, and he brought a sacrifice to God. And so when you look at that, I remember growing up and just thinking, I guess God doesn't like fruits and veggies. I guess he just isn't into that. That's the reason that Abel's offering was accepted and Cain's what? And that was the church I grew up in. That's what they taught. No, it's because, these were animals and this were not. But the Scripture doesn't say that. It literally doesn't say that. In fact, God, later on, when they have the Levitical system, says, hey, here's a grain offering. Those were acceptable to bring. And so I noticed something this time, and again, I've noticed this before, but it just stuck out to me again as I was reading it. And I'm going to pull it up here in my YouVersion from Genesis 4, Genesis chapter 4, if you want to pull yours up there. It says here in verse 3, it says, in the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground. An offering of the fruit of the ground. But it says, and Abel also brought the firstborn, I'm reading ESV, the firstborn of his flock and of their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry and his face fell. Let me read that again. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering, and Abel brought what? Firstborn. The problem was the way that they brought their offering. And we can look forward in Hebrews 11 where it says, by faith, Abel brought his. And so as we are bringing, one of the things we talk about here at Rise is generosity is one of our values, right? And so we say that is giving of our time, talent, and treasure. And as we are serving God, my question for you is, are you bringing a Cain offering or are you bringing an Abel offering? And what's the difference? Because here's sometimes what we say. This is, again, I've been in your shoes. I remember saying this to my pastor. You should just be happy I do anything because I don't get paid. Well, who am I bringing the offering to? You shouldn't have so many rules for us in serving because you should just be happy we do anything. Is that a Cain offering or is that an Abel offering? Like, the church should just be happy. They shouldn't care that I show up late. They shouldn't care that I have a bad attitude. They shouldn't care what I wear. They should just be happy that I brought this offering. Why aren't you esteeming my offering? And so we have to be careful. Well, here's another way a Cain offering can show up. I don't know if anybody sees what I do at all. I don't know if anyone sees. I don't know if anyone sees at all. Let me go back to Hebrews 11. What does it say? I'm going to read Hebrews 11, pulling it up. Hebrews 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things unseen. Verse 4, by faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice, or Abel offered to God more acceptable sacrifice than Cain. So it was by faith. Who cares if anybody sees? Now again, let me tell you, you are seen, you are appreciated, but the enemy will speak to you in those moments. And what he'll do is he'll turn you against people. Because that's his recipe. He just does this. He runs the same plays over and over, y'all. I don't know if you figured this out about the enemy. He just does the same thing over and over again. And we're like, what? I didn't know the devil would bring division. I just thought we'd be happy. Here's what I've noticed about churches where they have the wrong heart of serving is they're killing one another. They have the Cain and Abel, like the Cain spirit of like, I have pastors that I mentor and coach, and they call me up like, Pastor Jason, I might get fired. Okay, what are you going to get fired about? I bought hot dogs from this grocery store, and I didn't buy hot dogs from that grocery store, and I didn't approve it with this person in the church, and I bought T-shirts from this vendor, and I didn't. I'm like, y'all fighting about T-shirts and hot dogs? Man, y'all aren't on mission. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening, man? That's not right. Stop fighting about hot dogs and T-shirts. Stop esteeming someone else's gift. Bring your gift. And so I encourage you in that is remember we're giving it to God. We're serving Him. The offerings that we bring are not for me. You're not serving me. You're not serving Pastor Aaron. You're not serving the leaders of the church. We're serving God through serving people. We're bringing that gift before God. And just as it was by faith, we must give by faith. We must serve by faith. Believing this, that God is and that He is a rewarder. He is a rewarder. We believe that. And so as you bring your gift, bring it. He said, Abel brought first fruits. That's the best. That's the top. He didn't go into his flock and say, well, that one has 3 legs, and that one has 1 eye, and that one has a missing ear, and that one kind of just looks at you funny. He said the first fruits, he said the fat. Now, if you understand like that system, that means like the best. The best. Fat, when you see that in the Old Testament, it means the best.